Today, we're diving into something truly special. Not a scandal, not a headline designed to provoke outrage, but a quiet moment from the very beginning of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship, a moment that reveals far more about who they really are than years of tabloid speculation ever could. This story takes us back to the final days of 2016, during that reflective space between Christmas and the New Year, a time when most people pause, look inward, and decide what they want the next chapter of their life to become. For Harry and Meghan, that chapter was already being written, deliberately and thoughtfully, far away from public view. At the time, their relationship was still largely hidden from the world. Prince Harry had just completed another traditional royal Christmas at Sandringham, following routines he had known since childhood. These were rituals shaped by expectation, history and public duty, familiar but deeply restrictive. Meanwhile, Meghan was in Toronto, spending the holidays with her mother, Doria Ragland. She was balancing a demanding acting career while also coming to terms with the reality of dating someone whose life existed under relentless scrutiny. Their worlds couldn't have looked more different. They were separated by an ocean, by culture, by responsibility, and by the weight of expectation, yet neither was willing to let the year end without seeing the other. And what Harry chose to do next speaks volumes about the man he is and the kind of relationship they were building together. Instead of arranging a glamorous getaway or choosing a location that would generate attention, Harry chose Tromsø, Norway, a remote Arctic destination known not for luxury or celebrity sightings, but for silence, snow, and skies that dance with light. This was not a random decision. It was deeply intentional. Tromsø is a place where the noise of the world falls away, where nature, not spectacle, takes center stage, where privacy isn't engineered, it's inevitable. Harry wasn't trying to impress Meghan with excess. He was trying to give her something real, something meaningful. And importantly, Harry didn't delegate this trip to palace staff. He didn't let aides or handlers manage the details. He personally reached out to a trusted friend, Ing Solheim, a Norwegian adventure guide he had met years earlier during a charity trek with Walking with the Wounded. Harry picked up the phone himself. That detail matters, because it completely contradicts the narrative critics love to push, the idea that Meghan was some calculating figure pulling strings behind the scenes. A man being manipulated does not personally plan an intimate remote escape on his own terms. And a woman chasing status does not choose secrecy in the Arctic Circle. So what did Harry and Meghan actually do in Norway? They went whale watching, standing side by side in freezing Arctic waters, witnessing these massive, powerful creatures move silently through the sea. There were no crowds, no cameras, just awe. They walked through snow-covered landscapes beneath a winter sun that barely rises above the horizon, casting everything in soft, ethereal light. The kind of light that slows you down, that makes you present. And at night they experienced something truly extraordinary, the aurora borealis. The northern lights rippling across the sky in waves of green and purple, a natural phenomenon so breathtaking it almost doesn't feel real. This wasn't about extravagance. It wasn't about image. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was about shared wonder, about intimacy, about learning who each other was when absolutely no one else was watching. Sources close to the couple later described the trip as unforgettable, not because of luxury, but because of how completely removed it was from the rest of the world. Harry wanted them to be alone, truly alone. No royal protocols, no expectations, no roles to play, just Harry and Meghan, figuring out their connection in one of the most beautiful and humbling places on earth. This trip tells us everything about Harry's values. For most of his life, his world had been shaped by optics, by appearances over authenticity, by duty over emotional truth. With Meghan, he wanted something different. He wanted meaning over performance, privacy over spectacle, connection over compliance. The Norway trip wasn't just romantic, it was symbolic. It was Harry saying, "I choose you away from all of this. I choose us building something that belongs to us, not to the institution, not to tradition, not to the tabloids." And for Meghan, who was still adjusting to the overwhelming reality of being connected to one of the most famous families in the world, imagine how that must have felt. To be taken somewhere so vast and quiet that the only thing demanding your attention was nature itself. A place where you could breathe, where you could just be. That kind of thoughtfulness deepens a bond in ways that public appearances never can. When they returned to London, life accelerated quickly. Meghan met Catherine for the first time shortly afterward, following her birthday in early January. Commentators have since tried to frame that meeting as tense or dramatic, but in reality, it was simply another step in Meghan entering Harry's world. What truly mattered was this: Harry had already made his priorities clear. Not pleasing the institution first, not managing optics, but protecting their relationship and protecting her. 10 months later, Harry proposed in a private, thoughtful way that echoed the same values as that Norway trip. No spectacle, no grand performance, just intention and meaning. Then came Christmas 2017, when Meghan joined Harry at Sandringham, breaking royal tradition, since unmarried partners were not typically invited. Harry made it clear that Meghan wasn't temporary. She was family. He said publicly that she had a fantastic time and that his family loved having her there. Those were his words, spoken freely at the time. Despite later attempts to rewrite history, the facts tell a different story. In the beginning, there was genuine warmth. Meghan approached the family with openness and respect. She was willing to learn, to adapt, to participate. What she was not willing to do was erase herself completely. And in rigid systems that demand total conformity, that balance is not always comfortable. Looking back now, years later, as Harry and Meghan continue to face endless scrutiny for choosing autonomy and independence, this early chapter reminds us of something crucial. Their path was always intentional. They didn't stumble into independence, they didn't randomly step back from royal duties. They moved deliberately, step by step, starting with moments like this. A new year beneath the northern lights. No audience, no performance, just truth. The critics want you to believe Meghan arrived and destroyed everything. That Harry is weak. That every decision was manipulation. But this quiet, intentional story dismantles that narrative completely. What we see instead are two people who chose intimacy over image, depth over display, each other when no one else was watching. That is the foundation of their relationship, and that foundation explains everything that came after. This is the love story that rarely gets told because it doesn't fit the tabloid machine, it doesn't fuel outrage, it doesn't sell hate, but it is the truth, and sometimes the quiet truths are the most powerful of all.